And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Payload down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
Orange 45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting with the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
All right, folks. You know the drill. It's time for another rocket launch here. John Galloway for NASA Spaceflight. Let me know if you can hear me in chat. Give me some 5x5s, and you should be able to see everybody's favorite orange rocket. I don't know. Maybe y'all won't agree with me on that, but it's the orange rocket. Delta 4 Heavy over there out at Slick 37B. United Launch Alliance, you can see it. It says it right there on the building. Launching NROL-70 today out of the Cape. So is everything looking good? I got a ton of 5x5s in chat over there. Yes, Delta 4 Heavy, my beloved. Sam Central, you're right. All right. We're going to be bringing you some live coverage today. It's the NASA Spaceflight team, the NSF folks here, talking to you about what's going on. We'll talk about, well, we won't talk much about the mission because they're watching us, but we'll talk about what's going on, why this is important, and the way the weather seems to be affecting our potentials for launches today. You know, it's not just me. NASA Spaceflight NSF has a big old team of people that make these things possible. Who, in alphabetical order, who is joining me today? A, B, C, D, A. Up at the top of the list, Adrian. How you doing, Adrian?
Doing wonderful. I mean, it's end of multiple eras, you could say here, with this special launch, and I'm so excited. I mean, it's certainly my favorite orange rocket. I will say that for the record here. So yeah, I mean, it's a beauty. It's just a beauty.
Excellent. Adrian will be bringing us some countdown knowledge today as we step towards all of the things needed to make this rocket carry its payload into the sky and subsequently space, especially the difference between L- and T- times, because ULA likes to keep us on our toes. You'll see the clocks counting down, and you'll notice that the clocks seem to change on occasion. Some built-in holds and stuff like that. But Adrian, thank you so much for joining us. Also remotely commentating today. Commenting? Whatever. Jack, how you doing?
Doing good. Any day we have a rocket launch is a good day. And it's a bit of a somber day because it's the last Delta 4 Heavy and the last Delta ever. But hey, we get to see it fly one more time. And that's not a bad thing. So I'm excited. I always love the spooky NRO missions. Like you said, we won't talk about the payload too much because they're listening and watching, but but either way, it's going to be a good launch today. Hopefully, we don't get any Delta shenanigans.
Delta shenanigans. Let's not even manifest those right now. Delta 4 is a complicated rocket known for a complicated launch setup. So hopefully we're counting forwards towards a launch. Where are we at? We're under an hour and a half, it looks like right now. Yeah, we are currently under an hour and a half before we get that T0. Now we have a little bit left in the window. They're not targeting the exact end of the window right now, so maybe a little bit of room for flexibility, but we've been dealing with weather out there at the Cape. A couple systems coming through. You can see in the background, that sky's just a little bit of gray, but on some of our other cameras, we've got some ominous looking clouds that have been passing through the area. Our folks out in the field, who we'll introduce next, this is like a big setup to talk about the folks in the field, have been inside actually, like in the vehicles, not bringing the equipment out because we did have some active rain that was passing through. But we have a whole bunch of people out in the field today. I think Max is out there. I don't know if Max is available for comms. Let's see if Max checks in with us really quickly. Max, you there?
Yes, sir. How do you have me?
Hey, we hear you 5x5, Max. How you doing out there?
Doing okay. You know, it's been a very Delta E day between the weather and already pushing over an hour into the launch window now. But, you know, Delta is going to Delta. But nonetheless, it is a very exciting day here. Also, very somber one because, of course, this is the very last Delta IV Heavy to ever fly. But otherwise, everyone out here is excited, and we're hoping that all of these sad emotions hang tight until she is well gone and into the sky.
Gotcha. Who else out there with you today, Max? I know, I think Dee's out there. Is Julie out there? Who else is there?
You know, we have a full house out here today. We have Dee, we have Julia, myself, and we also have Sawyer back out here as well. So we have the entire Florida crew with us today.
The gang's all there. Where are y'all watching from? The angle looks fantastic. It looks like you're right next to this thing. I know you're not.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of feels like it, and this is essentially the closest, honestly, we get to any launch complex in any rocket for viewing. So we are currently on the ITL Causeway inside of the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, currently stationed around, 1.6 miles from Slick 37, which is remarkably close, especially for a vehicle that is powered by hydrogen. So we are certainly going to feel the rumble today if she can get off the pad. So fingers crossed.
1.6 miles. Those are Wallops numbers.
Actually, at Wallops,
Closer
you're
than
actually
Wallops.
farther.
Yeah, you're 1.9,
This is
1.2.
closest ever.
Yeah, that's no
exactly.
kidding. You're watching with the Space Force side today?
Yes, we are.
Who's supporting your viewing today? Let's put it that way.
Space Launch Delta 45 is courteous enough to be having a bunch of media along today, and with it being a very important mission, there is a ton of media personnel out here today. Probably the most I've seen out here in well over a couple of years, I want to say, but obviously for good reason.
No kidding. Well, hey, Max, tell them all thank you for supporting the opportunity to experience this. Not only y'all right there 1.6 miles away, but also allowing us to share it with people all over the world who are watching, like Jay Rogers from Liverpool, UK. How you doing, Jay? Thanks for watching. Let's see here. We're going to do our normal thing. We're going to check in with some questions. You've got questions for us in chat. Tag us at NASA Spaceflight. We're going to be talking a little bit about the mission. Adrian, I know you've got lots of information going on. Also, we're listening in. We are keeping up with ULA's announcements, both on their live blog, I think is what the kids would call it, and they're doing some stuff on social media. They're keeping us apprised of the current status, but as of right now, watch, they updated it 10 seconds before I said that, and I'm not aware yet. As of right now, we are now L minus just under an hour and 20 minutes, it looks like. Again, if you're just joining us, that's Slick 37B. It's SLC Space Launch Complex, but we call it Slick because we want to be cool. 37B, you can see the rocket on the right-hand side. 3 cores on it. It's a Delta IV Heavy. Delta IV would just be a single core in the middle. You slap 2 on either side of it, and it becomes a Delta IV Heavy. And it is carrying a classified payload out today for the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office, -70. I can't tell you anything else about it. Sorry. That's all I got. Anyways.
I can tell you things about it.
Can you tell us things about it, Jack? Tell us things about these spooky payloads that the National Reconnaissance Office launches out of all the different providers that handle them.
Yeah, so it's a Delta IV Heavy rocket, obviously, which means it's got a lot of upmass capability. So there are 3 basic satellites that the NRO might want to launch that would require this sort of capability, and the only one that goes to this inclination would be an Orion satellite, which is a electronic intelligence satellite. So like intercepting cell signal, radio signal, that sort of thing. And there have been several of these Orion satellites launched. The first one of this, generation of them was launched on STS-51C. So we get to mention the shuttle there right off the bat and make Chris B happy. But one thing I did want to pick out is I was doing a little bit of research before today's stream, I was looking on Wikipedia, as one does, for sources. And one of the sources I found was a NSF article from 2010, which I thought was pretty hilarious. But in that article, NRO director at the time, Bruce Carlson, is quoted as saying that a previous version of the Orion satellite was the largest satellite in the world. So it's believed that this type of satellite, these Orion satellites, have like a huge antenna, like a 330 foot, like 100 meter, or 100 meter antenna.
Pretty close,
so
yeah.
really, pretty crazy capabilities being launched. I mean, what it can do and what it's actually doing, all that, of course, is very highly classified, but sort of based on orbital parameters and hazard zones and just what this rocket is needed for, that is sort of what we can divine. So there's your spooky payload. I will go apologize to the NRO.
Well, let's be really clear. They have not, and help me out with this, they have not officially said that's the payload on board. Like, the information you were just talking about is sort of process of elimination, like where we think it's going, how big the rocket is, that sort of stuff. Like, have they officially said that that's the payload, or is that Jack and crew surmising what the payload might be?
The second thing.
later.
But it's not... I do not take credit. I am just reporting things that I have read. I'm not Jonathan McDowell over here, but it's that sort of interpretation of the data at hand, right, Adrian?
Yeah, there's another part here, another big indicator. Previous semi-confirmed also that Orion satellites always use the Titan IV derived 3-part aluminium trisector fairing, which we can see on the Delta IV Heavy here as well. There are 2 fairings available for the Delta IV Heavy. One is the 2-part composite material fairing, and the other is this 3-part aluminium trisector Titan IV fairing. And these tend to be used on the suspected Orion satellite launches. And as if you look at the fairing, that is indeed this trisector fairing. So that's another indicator here where this is probably going.
Where it's probably going. Well, hopefully space is where it's probably going today. But anyways, do we got some questions in the queue? Can we ask some questions from chat?
Yeah, you want to throw some at you?
Sure. I may deflect them to somebody else, but go ahead.
Here's just kind of a broad one from Kanan Copeland, who is asking, why is Delta IV Heavy done after this? Why is this the last one? We love this rocket. Why it go? It makes sad. I added the last bit.
It makes sad. No, that wasn't part of the question. Well, we've all seen the new launch of Vulcan. Vulcan's got a successful launch under its belt. And I think ULA is sort of streamlining their operations. They had a couple different rockets that could work on a couple different missions. They used to have Delta II, the smaller with more SRB blue Delta. Names are all Deltas. We had Atlas, and Atlas had a bunch of different configurations. Atlas is still flying, I think. And we've got Delta IV here as well. So Delta IV had different configurations. The single stick configuration, multiple different SRBs on the bottom, or the heavy configuration like we see on the pad right now. But in part of streamlining, and I don't know if I should say modernizing the operations, clearly the rockets sort of keep up with being able to launch things, but they are moving just towards Vulcan. The new rocket that they've built, the new methane engines or LNG engines, depending on how cool you want to be when you say it. And they have been working over at pad 41 when we've already seen, I was almost going to say towards the launch of Vulcan, but we've seen a launch of Vulcan, actually. So it might just be an intersection of different capabilities there where they're streamlining their operations and don't need to support so many different types of rockets when they're moving to one, I hope they don't cringe when I say this, but more modern rocket that can still service the payloads that the customers come to them to launch. Do you think that's a fair sort of way to say it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's not unfair to say a more modern rocket. It's not saying that Delta IV Heavy is bad. It's just this rocket is, I would describe it as like a heritage system. It's got all kinds of heritage from, other Delta rockets over the years, and it's sort of, morphed into this form over the years. And yeah, I mean, there's new technology out there. There's new optimizations that can be made. And as Delta leaves us today for the final time, and as Atlas slowly gets phased out, it's like you said, streamlining, optimization. Like rocketry is all about trades, and ULA is able to use modern technology to make the trades on their engineering for Vulcan, presumably in a more efficient manner. And Vulcan has plenty of up mass and a nice large fairing. So this is the swan song. Is swan song the final one? This is the final Delta. So there you go.
I don't know of many swans that light themselves on fire before going into space, so I'm not sure that's the right analogy, but We'll see here shortly. Hey, real quick check here with the weather. I'm going to telegraph this so Max knows that I'm going to come in. But you can see the cameras are pretty shaky today. We've got some vibrations going out there. We're really close to the rocket using some big lenses as well. But if Max is able to join us, I'm going to guess that it's pretty windy out there. Max?
Yeah, indeed it is, and we've been battling. We've been battling winds, cloud cover, and rain all day today. And just as we were driving into the ITL Causeway today, a couple of small but heavy rain cells came over our area and pretty much drenched the entire premises of where we were. And right now, the rain has cleared, but the cloud cover still remains. It is forecasted to improve. However, the winds remain the primary concern throughout the entire launch window. I think last time we checked, they were green, but they are right at the cusp of being a no-go. So
yeah,
hopefully the winds hold off, but the forecast doesn't look all that promising. But honestly, it's so close, it could go either way, and the board could go green and she could fly. So we never know.
It's something that happens.
You could say that the Cape team was Delta tough hand today when it comes to terms to the weather.
Oh, jeez.
Moving right along.
That was for Sawyer.
You can see all of the different screens we're showing here. The radar, we saw that line of showers come through earlier that the NSF folks were sheltering in their vehicles from earlier. Those have passed over, like Max said, but you saw those different shots, including one rocket that is definitely not a Delta IV Heavy. They're over at the port. SpaceX brought a booster back in earlier today. Those clouds are still up there and are definitely going to be a challenge were the rocket to launch right now. Now, what happens a lot of the times is they're looking forward. A lot of times you'll have these weather systems come through, and behind it, as it expends the energy, can sort of get cleared up a little bit. So it's possible that those clouds might clear up, or it might just be that the rocket launching through clouds specifically is within the boundaries that the rocket can actually do. So clouds alone aren't necessarily something that would prevent a launch, even though we would all be very sad that we wouldn't see it for as long as it went into the clouds. It depends on the types of clouds, the wind shear, all the different environments up there. What's the tribo-electrification, where they're going through the cloud and creating the potential for electrical discharge or lightning, like electrical motion, probably is the way to say it. There's all sorts of different rules, but just because it's cloudy, a little cloudy, or even completely overcast doesn't necessarily mean that the rocket wouldn't be go. So we still have just under an hour and 10 minutes, L-minus 1 hour and 10 minutes here. There's always time for that Florida weather to change, and we are all hoping that it clears up a little bit. Be nice if the winds calm down some too, but I'm not sure that that's going to be a thing today. I don't know. Adrian, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, overall, this perfectly like what we see and what Max reports totally lines up with what ULA says. Right now, the forecast has a 30% chance of good conditions to launch. And the main concerns are ground winds, not the upper level winds, which we are used to sometimes here. Today's concern is the ground winds, actually. And cumulus clouds, so big cauliflower-shaped like clouds that would be a violation for this. As Daz said, not every cloud is a violation, but these can be a violation of launch criteria. As of now, ULA said at 12:47 Eastern time that all weather rules are green. We suspect that means green for a liftoff at that time and not green at that moment, because the board we saw at that point was definitely not green. But we will see. They still have this issue with the cold front that comes right now and that produces about 25 to 30 knots wind from northwest. So that's the issue they're watching. They're launching weather balloons. They confirmed that they are basically watching a series of weather balloons all the way up to liftoff to see if they are cleared for launch. So that's the overall weather overview that ULA has presented to us.
Gotcha. What was the 45th? The 45th gives the weather probabilities of violating weather constraints. And they do that in advance. I think the last one we got was
70%.
70% what though? 70%
70% chance of violation. 30% go.
So it was via that update a 30% go, but what they'll do a lot of the times is they will look forwards in the window. It might not be great right now, but an hour and 7 minutes from now, it might be better. And so sometimes they will be looking at that time in the future and making weather predictions on whether or not they'll have that hole to launch through versus saying, well, it's not great right now, so we're just calling it all off. So that is where we are. The clock continues to tick, and we wait for United Launch Alliance to give us any updates as to whether they're going to be approaching a new T0, if they're going for the one they have right now, or what they plan to do with the Delta IV Heavy. Jack, how are we doing on questions?
We got so many good questions. Let's just start rolling through them.
Heck yeah, let's go.
Right off the bat, we have Ross asking us how long the launch window is. So do we want to hit that in case they do hit a snag with the weather? What sort of window do they have? It's not like it's going to the ISS, so it's not instantaneous.
We could talk real quick about that. The window was previously not exactly communicated. A lot of times with these National Reconnaissance payloads, if they were to tell us the window that the rocket can launch in, then you can surmise a lot of information about where it's going and how big the satellite is and that sort of stuff. So a lot of times they won't even tell us what the windows are. But we got a tweet earlier from the Brevard EOC, the Emergency Operations Centers, that told us that it was about a 4-hour window going through, what was that? We had that up at the top of the thing, didn't we? 549, 539, which was it?
539. According
539.
to Brevard OC, it's 539.
Yeah. Again, so that's not from United Launch Alliance. That's not from NRO or anything like that, Space Launch Delta 45, but that is from the Brevard Emergency Operations Center, and they had put out a tweet saying that they were activating their launch support operations until 5:39 p.m. Eastern time. I was like, we're daylight time, or what is it right now? But I'm just going to say Eastern time.
I also want to add the caveat here, as you said before, this still could be a window that has some National Reconnaissance Office shenanigans in there.
Exactly.
Basically, that's the window they want us to know right now. That's
not the window they want you to know. Nice.
Yeah, it's like it could always be a different window, and maybe the current slips are not even related to weather. Maybe they never had a chance to launch before this anyway. We don't know. It's all.
Yeah, it can be really easy to sound like tinfoil hatty when it comes to these NRO launches, but it really is a thing where there is typically a classified window and a public window, and it makes sense. This satellite, this electronic intelligence satellite that we presume is being launched on Delta IV Heavy today, is, if you think about it, it's taking great expense to get into orbit, and it's very likely the pinnacle of American technology when it comes to a satellite that can do the sort of things that whatever the satellite can do are. And you don't want necessarily every other country to know when and where exactly it's going to be inserted into its orbit, because then you can set up they could set up satellites to either image it or conduct some other sort of surveillance on the satellite. So that obfuscation is something we see all the time with NRO launches. Part of the reason why I love NRO launches, because my mind is constantly boggled by the things that we cannot know. But yeah, so completely normal for that. Let's do more questions before I put my tinfoil hat even further on.
And hey, I also see there's a lot of support coming in, super chats, memberships, that sort of stuff. We will hit those as well. But let's go through some of the free questions. You don't have to be a member or pay us money or anything like that to ask us a question. All you have to do is tag us in chat, and let's continue hitting a couple of those free questions that anybody can ask, Jack.
Gwen is asking, with it being 100% disposable, are there any Delta IV Heavies in museums made from spares? I don't believe there are, right, Adrian?
I don't recall any common booster core just laying around somewhere. I think there might be I wouldn't be surprised if there's an R68A or something. I'm not aware of any full portfolio of any museum, but to my knowledge, there's not a full booster core somewhere that will be available. I mean, of course, you still have the upper stage. I mean, the upper stage will continue to exist a bit because the upper stage in a modified form will also launch as the ICPS on SLS. So we'll see what hardware comes from that. But I'm also not aware of just a like these things are expensive, so I'm not sure if there's a DCSS somewhere, the Delta Cryogenic Second Stage, somewhere around in the museum. I think they prefer to launch these.
Right.
They prefer to launch them.
Yeah.
In that vein, we have Soren the SPMT troll asking over and over again, when will you guys finally start to acknowledge SLS as the 5th version of Delta? It's practically a Delta 4. Agree or disagree?
I mean, I wouldn't say the first stage is I wouldn't say the first stage. I mean, it's the different engine. It's the 68A versus the RS-25s. I think that's already, yes, it's both orange. I'm aware of that, but I don't think that classifies as a successor. The SRBs are a very integral part of the SLS design versus Delta IV Heavy being more different. And they had the medium plus with the booster designs, but I don't think they're as an integral part of the Delta system versus where they are in SLS. So I wouldn't call it like a Delta 5. I think it's definitely using some of the Delta heritage. Right. That's how I would classify it.
Yeah, I mean, similarities, orange, okay. Hydrogen and oxygen.
It's orange.
That makes sense. It's orange. That makes sense, but they're different engines. They're different providers. I guess the upper stage or the second stage, third stage, I don't even know how they're counting the stages on SLS these days. There are some reused or similar components there, but beyond that, I don't think that it's fair to say that it's a Atlas 5 or Delta 5. I think they said Delta 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Doug is asking, is the Parker Solar Probe the best Delta IV Heavy mission? Ooh. I think it might be. That's a really tough call, but I think if I was hard pressed, I would say yes. That's probably my favorite one. Although NROL-71, whichever one was the first one I shot from Vandenberg, that one's probably my personal favorite. But in terms of coolest payload launched on this rocket, I don't know how you get much cooler than Parker Solar Probe, or I guess hotter. I don't know. Das, what's your favorite Delta IV Heavy mission?
Look, I have to go with the Parker Solar Probe because I did a lot of work. ULA actually gave us ridiculous access to visit the rocket and the launch pad before Parker Solar Probe actually launched. So that big structure that you see over on the right-hand side of the building that rolls back, the mobile service tower or mobile service building, whatever, that actually, they gave us permission to go up in that while the rocket, without the payload, so Parker Solar Probe wasn't there yet, they gave us permission to go up there and live stream it on Twitch. So there was an engineer from United Launch Alliance, John Gadarowski, and he walked us all around the pad, showing us the rocket, showing us the pad, showing us the equipment, and gave us this one-on-one engineering explanation. And then eventually, this was the first attempt, but eventually in the middle of the night, we did get to see Parker Solar Probe actually launch. But I have to say my favorite Delta IV is Parker Solar Probe because we got to be so up close and personal with that rocket. I don't know. I know we had a couple of those videos sort of pulled aside here, but I don't know if we're quite set up to show those to you right now. If they pop up, I'll know. But it may take us a second before we can get into that. Less than 60 minutes, L-59.
I think Kevin is ready.
Yeah, I'm not even sure which one we have, but if we put it on the screen, we can listen in and see some of the visit that we actually got to run around this launch pad.
It seems like it's not a fast elevator. It seems like a powerful elevator. It's a sign of a long wait.
Yeah, we should link this in chat so people can watch it at their leisure.
Okay. Ding, men's wears.
Come on up. We're okay here. The spacecraft's not present.
Okay, gotcha. Wow.
So again, we don't want to take a picture of the umbilicals, but
Yeah, okay.
yeah, we're sitting at the top of the center core here. And this is where the spacecraft will be installed and mounted. And then you see the surface is clean for the time being.
Yeah. I'm not going to touch it. I'm staying over here.
I never touch them either. Just to be
So underneath us right now, we have one of the boosters down below us.
yeah, we'll walk down there and take a look at that.
And then this is the actual center core. This is the second stage, the upper stage, I guess, the DCSS.
Correct.
And this is where the spacecraft is going to be mounted, like right here, on top of the Delta IV Heavy.
Yep, top of the Delta Cryogenic Second Stage. You can kind of turn around and take a look at the views out here.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't. Is there a better way where we'll get those anywhere? Or
Yep.
you got it?
Or, yeah, we'll go down a level. It'll be better to see anyway.
All right, good deal, good deal.
Kind of closed off here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
follow me around this way. I'll show you the top of that hoistway where the spacecraft is framed into place.
Oh, the hoistway.
You
Wait, we
gotta
got to see
steer
the
right
hoistway, then we can
so
talk about
straight
that.
down the hoistway.
Oh, geez. You got a good hold on the camera?
What'd you call me?
Unless the strap breaks.
It's like strap and held on. So this is where the spacecraft has to come up the hoistway, right? And that's where the spacecraft will be lifted up from the truck down on the bottom all the way.
Poor camera.
It's doing its best.
That camera is gone. I stuck it in a furnace that was melting iron a couple weeks ago for like a community art thing, and now it's here in the hoistway of a Slick 36.
Anyways, y'all, we got we may have to bring the audio down on that. We got a tour
You can imagine we've got
of that launch pad, and not only was it like being able to walk around the bottom of the launch pad, but John Gradarowski, right there, you can see him, took us up on the structure, like through the elevator, and not only were we recording this, ULA gave us permission to stream this live. So the recording is actually over on my old YouTube channel. If you want to watch the whole thing, I will grab the link and I'll put it in chat. But there's a lot more to this. Maybe we have a couple more snippets we can show as we talk about different topics. I know we'll get the Rofies in there. But the hoistway, wow, we just looked up and down the hoistway. Let's talk about that really quickly. You can't see it on the right-hand side, the live view we have over there of the current launch pad. But you see sort of the cutout that looks like the shape of the rocket, right? It's got the taller center core than the two boosters on the side. And the cool thing about this pad is that entire building rolls away from the rocket. You've seen rockets that roll out of buildings. You've seen SpaceX's rockets that are horizontal and they sort of drive over and then they verticate. They go vertical and they have these huge pistons and stuff to pick them up. But here, they roll the rocket out horizontally. They bring it up vertically in this position into the building. But then when it's time for launch, like they just did this morning, some of our folks were there, we shared the views on Space Coast Live, the rocket doesn't roll out of the building. The building rolls away from the rocket. It goes 300 plus feet away from it out the back like that. The entire structure is on these massive train car rails, and they can jack up the entire structure about 9 inches, if I recall correctly, and they move the whole thing back. And then the rocket stays right where it is, and then the service structure next to it that has those umbilicals, those little arms that go out and stuff, that all stays there, and the entire building gets out of the way. But while they're sort of putting this rocket together in the building, they attach the cores, they put the rocket together horizontally over in another building that's over to the right of this. They get it over here, they verticate it, but the payload's not on top yet. It's sort of a headless rocket. We were watching in that video on the side there. There was no payload. Parker Solar Probe was not on that rocket yet. And what they do with that big hoistway on the back of the building from this perspective, the rocket is standing up straight. They drive the payload over there. The payload gets to stick up straight as well, like the payload doesn't ever go on its side. And they put it in this big crane on the back side of the building, and they lift it up to the top of the rocket in that hoistway on the back. It's sort of an enclosed environment. And then the crane sort of swings over. I guess it doesn't swing, it rolls over, and then puts the payload down on top of the rocket so that the payload never actually ends up horizontal. And the cool thing about that, the reason that's a requirement for some of these payloads or satellites, is because if you design your satellite so that it doesn't have to handle horizontal loads, like you don't have to bolt it to a payload adapter and then deal with the payload adapter being on its side, so the loads are sort of hanging on the side versus just coming straight down on the platform, you can make your satellite structure different. You can actually make your satellite structure more efficient and lighter weight if it doesn't have to deal with loads in different directions like that. If the majority load during launch and transport is sort of straight down the axis of the rocket, you can make your payload lighter and more efficient, or cram more stuff in your payload, which may be the case here. But anyways,
like maybe you have a gigantic mirror that you would have to have some kind of crazy structure to support in a horizontal configuration. But if you only ever transport it, move it around vertically, and then once it gets into space, obviously it doesn't matter. then that's a huge advantage. So vertical
got it.
integration, it's a thing.
It's like a flat screen TV, right? This rocket is designed to integrate and launch flat screen TVs. You're not supposed to lay them down on their backs. They're always supposed to be vertical.
I now have like these
sure.
pictures of people like transporting glass panels for their desks and tables in a horizontal, and like they snap in the middle. Like that's what they
Exactly.
don't want.
Exactly, like live stream fails or whatever.
Yeah.
I think we've got a status update here for a planned hold. Adrian, can you talk us through this?
Yeah, don't panic. That's normal. That's the initial like don't panic. Get set countdown holding, but that's normal. They the Delta countdown works in a way that they go all the way to T-4 minutes. And what is special here, which happens on a few rockets but not on everything, is that the T- and L- clocks are not the same. So the internal countdown clock is now holding at T-4 minutes, while they take the L- clock down, and they use this to perfectly check out every system, conduct final readiness polls, basically all of these system checks they want to do before getting ready to launch. So this is the planned hold here of T-4 minutes, which will happen until the L- clock also approaches L-4 minutes, sorry. And both, once they're synced, they will basically, after successful poll, as we hope, they will roll the countdown again, and from that moment on, L and T- are synced, and they're going all the way to T and L0, which is then the planned liftoff of the rocket. So that's what's happening here. Everything good to go so far on the rocket side. I think the biggest question for today remains weather. And I want to quickly point out as well, because that's also interesting about this countdown, the rocket is fully fueled at this point. Like that's another point here that we should probably point out. This rocket is no longer like fueling up. They're in top off mode. Both stages have all the liquid oxygen and all the liquid hydrogen they need. They're just topping it off now until the liftoff. There's no more fast loading. That's all conducted before.
Good deal. It also looks like ULA just put out a status update that at this time they're not tracking any technical issues. They're watching the winds for launch. Remember what we talked about the clouds? As much as we might want to see the rocket go, the clouds are necessarily not a restraint or constraint for launch. So via ULA's latest update, they're tracking no technical issues and just watching the winds. Jack, how are we doing on questions? I imagine we got more questions?
Yeah, JPX 2000 is asking, any future plans for the use of the RS-68? Or is the rocket's main engine sort of done after this?
Not that I'm... Adrian, are you aware of any future plans?
Yeah.
No. I mean, the RS-68 had some proposed use. For example, the whole Ares system with Ares 5. But yeah, besides Delta IV Heavy, this will be the retirement of the RS-68. There's no further use of it. It will also be the last time, by the way, this Titan fairing also will be used. So there's a lot of hardware here that will retire today, which was used over multiple
the
rocket
tri-sector
systems.
fairing.
Yep.
The tri-sector fairing is so nice.
Tri-sector fairing means it's like a fairing that doesn't come apart in two halves, I guess, right? Like you see typical, it splits in half like an eggshell or something, but it's actually got three, I don't know, lobes, pieces to the fairing. It's the right terminology.
Yeah, pedals, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, it's more sci-fi. It's more Kerbal. I like the tri-sector fairing. It's just different, and I like it.
Nice.
Japan Rail Plus is asking, why does the more simple open cycle RS-68 get so much more thrust than the more complex RS-25 for about the same size of engine? Both are hydrolocks. Is that just because the RS-68 is way lighter because it's not designed to be reused? I don't actually know.
Yeah, it's the RS-68A's goal initially was to design a effective, simple engine that just is there for single launch and uses way less parts than the multi-launch RS-25. So yes, that is probably the reason. It was just the design goal was basically derive the RS-25 and make a rocket engine that is just designed for the single use. So I wonder if that is the reason why there's the higher thrust here on the 68 versus the 25.
I also wonder, and again, I'm wondering here, I'm conjecturing, One of them was designed for reuse on the shuttles, right? And the other one was not designed for reuse. So I wonder if there are different limits, or they can run it at different capacities or pressures or anything like that. Again, I don't know off the top of my head, but I wonder if you are a little bit more conservative is probably the word. If you have an engine that you want to use over and over again, you build it a little bit more robustly versus something that's sort of one and done. Like it does its mission and then it's done with its mission and it ends up in the drink.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like probably a combination of all of these answers.
Also, this is also why you'll probably never hear me on an official broadcast for like ULA, because I say things like ends up in the drink. I think PAO would be shaking their heads at me if I were to say that. But anyways, hey, that's what happens.
We have a lot of questions about Slick 37. Cameron wants to know, will we see a Vulcan Heavy from Slick 37, or is ULA done with the pad? Who was it? Somebody, Rit Lively is asking about what's to come of the mobile service structure there that we were just talking about. So Adrian, what's going on with Slick 37 after Delta, after today's launch?
So there's two parts of this. Officially, there's not a successor to this pad yet. However, we know what's probably coming for this pad, because there is an ICE, an environmental impact statement, being conducted for this pad for a rocket that is called Starship. Not sure if that rings any bells, but that environmental impact statement is supposed to be concluded in the fall of 2025, which would then eventually, depending on the outcome here, allow for launches from this pad from Starship. So that's the current outlook, but it's not confirmed yet. It's probably the different parties looking at if that's even a feasible option for this pad.
Yeah, like the fact-finding mode or something like that. And when we say pad, we don't necessarily mean, oh yeah, the entire same structure, everything the same, right? We mean this plot of ground, this real estate is really what we're saying when we say pad in that context, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Delta IV Heavy produces a bit of a different thrust level versus Starship.
Slightly.
In the terms of Starship, yeah, it's like 7 to 8 times the thrust, if I'm not completely wrong here. So that pad infrastructure would not help you launch a Starship. Like we are talking about the ground and the ground only, probably.
Yeah. And hey, folks, on occasion, Delta IV is one of our favorite rockets. It doesn't launch very often, but when it does, it's always a show, and it looks so cool. As we go through this, we're actually bringing up some of our older photos of other missions from all of the photographers and contributors to NSL. Look at that! There is a Delta IV, and that looks like me and Chris Gebhardt over there.
Oh, it's Chris.
Yeah, it's Chris. Look at that.
We love you, Chris.
That's one of the first things I did with NSF was, hey, I'll bring all this live stream equipment and get us access over to the pad. And this was during the Mobile Service Tower rollback, or the Mobile Service Structure rollback there. We did a live stream and we did questions and did interviews and stuff like that with me and Chris Gebhardt as that structure, that building rolled away to uncover the rocket. I'm pretty sure that was for Parker Solar Probe.
That's Brady's photos, by the way, just to point that out.
We talk a lot about how the channel started from Mary being out here in Starbase and Chris Bandy came in clips, which is 100% true. But the other half of that equation is that meeting between you and Chris G at a Delta IV Heavy and us starting to live stream. So that's a pretty iconic photo. All of these are iconic photos in classic Brady fashion.
Look at this. I remember this, the sunset. There were mosquitoes all over the place. There you go. Thank you. Back to the sunset. I remember they took us around to this side of the pad so we could get the rocket. You see the structure's rolled back now, right? The building has rolled away from the rocket, but the sun was going down, and it makes for fantastic photos like this, and we got so eaten up with mosquitoes. There were so many mosquitoes that came out.
Hey, it just makes for some good scratching.
Yeah, some good scratching.
Yay.
Look at this. Those massive struts. You played Kerbal Space Program, you put struts on your rocket to hold the rocket cores together. That's what you can see there in the middle of the picture. Those massive struts holding the top of the boosters to the center core there. In real life, Kerbal, you're like, oh, the struts. Yeah, okay, they look sort of spindly and weak. And in real life, when you see one of these things, they're massive. They're absolutely huge. Oh, more struts.
Yeah, and they look tiny on these pictures, but that's just because, well, the rocket is so big. Like, these struts are not tiny.
No, not at all.
Oh, look at this. Rain shower coming through the
Jeez, the
camera.
rain. Yeah.
That looks like a
remote
typical
triggered camera.
It must
That
be,
looks
yeah.
like that looks like the average Delta for heavy launch weather.
Look at
And
this
there we
lift
go.
off
There's
shot.
the average Delta IV Heavy fireball, which we have not talked about yet.
We haven't. We really should talk about this, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should.
So, really quickly, what goes on? Like, if you see this rocket launch today, and if you look at past rocket launch videos for Delta here, they're hydrogen engines, right? And when they are launching, or I mean, for their propellant, they use hydrogen and oxygen, liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen. Well, what they do to condition, God, look at the stuff, the grass flying towards the camera in this shot. What they do to condition those engines before they ignite them is they actually flow hydrogen through them, right? And if you've ever been in a high school science class, you know that hydrogen balloons, or hydrogen in general, is actually quite flammable. They'll make a nice pop if you introduce an ignition source to them. So what they do is they flow this hydrogen through the engines to condition them prior to launch, and that means there's a high concentration of hydrogen around the base of the rocket. There's a ton of hydrogen that's built up, and it's in a nice mixture because you've got atmospheric oxygen and you've got hydrogen that is now gathering in this area around the base. And so you literally have sort of a conflagration ready to happen. So what ULA does before the rocket actually launches, they fire these things called radial outward firing igniters. They're sparklers, right? There's these ROFIs, exactly. They fire these big sparkers into the hydrogen-rich environment, and they intentionally cause it to light up, which is what you're seeing right here. So you get this big hydrogen fireball to, I guess, get rid of that hydrogen before the actual takeoff. So every time you see a Delta IV go, you get this fireball around the base, which is absolutely insane. That's in that video as well. Like when we were walking around, they took us underneath the rocket and they pointed out the sparklers, the radial outboard firing igniters. We actually just saw the covers over them, right? And that was another thing we got to see in that virtual field trip out to Pad 37B. God,
we should
also.
That is why Delta Heavy, despite not being made of stainless steel, is the most metal of rockets, because
it really is.
It sets itself on fire and then goes to space.
That's one of the curious things. Look at this streak shot.
Oh, Brady does not disappoint ever.
That's delicious.
That's beautiful. He's like delicious.
I mean, is that not saying? Is that just me?
I really. The more we stream, Adrian, the more I think you have synesthesia.
What is that? Where you turn? What is it, Jack?
It's where you mix senses up, so like you can hear or you can taste a sound or smell a color or things like that. Like I'm pretty sure Adrian has synesthesia.
It is a delicious photo, though. I think we could say
it is. I would agree.
See,
cool deal. Thanks to Brady
right.
for sharing those, and we do have some other images from everybody, because this is a rocket everyone loves to shoot because it's a beautiful rocket.
Yeah.
But let's do some more questions.
Let's do some questions, and Kevin, when we have more images, just put them up. You know that we'll talk about questions forever, but if Kevin just slams them an image up there, we'll be like, oh, another image, and we'll start talking about it.
We're like birds that you throw some corn to. Like as soon as it happens on the screen, we are like, oh, pictures.
It's a delicious photo, and now the commentators are like birds you throw corns to. Thank you, Adrian.
Adrian's hungry and has synesthesia, confirmed. Adrian, this one's for you. Adam is asking, was ULA purchased by Blue? Oh wait, we have a thing.
Oh,
if you were just tuning in, the countdown is proceeding toward a liftoff of Delta IV Heavy at 2:45 Eastern Daylight Time. We continue to have a green board with no issues being worked, simply waiting on the weather. So does that, if they're waiting on the weather, do they have a green board or not? I'm confused.
That's like, I think what they're saying here is the board is green at the expected time, they hope. Like, that's how it reads to me. Like, because that board is not green, there's some pink there.
Trying to read what they say.
It's the 80 knot steady state at KC. Was the upper one.
Okay, gotcha.
So
all right,
there's
well, hopefully they
some
get a couple
iffy.
more weather balloons in the air or something, and see conditions they like, and we can get this rocket off the ground today.
Yeah. I'm going to be very
yes.
confused, Jack. Like, if it goes, I'm going to be
on.
like, wait, what?
Fair. Tori's just like, send it. Adrian, Adam is asking, was ULA purchased by Blue Origin? What's going on with that? The purported, rumored, not officially a thing, but rumored in the space media's purchase of ULA by Blue Origin.
I think that's where we are. Like, there's a rumor around it. There's some reporters saying it might happen, but so far neither company has acknowledged that or confirmed anything. So I think that's where we are, right? There's no update. It's not the purchase. Like, there's not even negotiations are confirmed. So we'll just wait and see if something is happening. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something.
Yeah, there may be conversations going on, but there hasn't been any official announcement on it yet.
Yes.
Hey, let me do this. Let me say thanks to some folks who are supporting the stream and making it so we can continue to bring such interesting commentary describing rocket views as delicious. Really quickly, of course, the first name I pull is Blushy Boy. Blushy Boy gifted some Red Team memberships. We have behind the scenes content and extra member photos and that sort of stuff here on YouTube that we release. So Blushy here has gifted 5 Red Team memberships to other folks that are watching the stream. RC Horseman actually gifted 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you for the support there, RC Horseman, and spreading some of the content love around to other people that are watching. Darren Cates became a Padrat member. Almost said Bad Rat member, but it's Padrat. Thank you so much for the support
also, yes.
there. Yeah, either way. This is from Anonymous. Interestingly, this says Anonymous, but then the store message from our shop is, happy birthday, Major Tom. Love, Dad and Brenda. Major Tom, whoever you are, somebody bought a shirt. Oops. I might have spoiled what the birthday present was. Whoops, maybe I wasn't supposed to say that. But saying happy birthday, Major Tom. Sorry if that was a spoiler. Chris W. gifted 5 Red Team memberships as well. Thank you, Chris. And Apocalypse Cow gifted 5 Red Team memberships as well. If you got one of those gifted memberships, make sure you say thanks to the folks who gifted it to you. Bill Westman did a super chat with a question. When hit 1 million subscribers? I think we're close, aren't we?
Yeah, we are like 400 away.
We're close.
Okay, well, stop subscribing.
Less than 500 subs to go to 1 million, which we haven't talked about much, but holy cow, what a road. Thank you, everybody, for that, even before we hit it. But yeah, we're close.
We're not, but we don't want to hit it during the stream. Like, we're supposed to do a different stream where we go over 1 million, so please do not subscribe to us for this stream. Save it for later.
Yes.
Thanks. Okay.
Yes. You're ruining the thing.
There's 11. Geez, our special event or whatever. No, we're not going to make a big deal of it. We keep getting subscribers because y'all keep showing up and clicking the buttons.
We rather focus on rockets. That's our thing.
Exactly. Let me say thanks to just a few more people here. Brian Green with a super chat says, hit that like button, Rocket Nerds, with a bunch of emojis. Thank you, Brian, for the support. Wow. TMC Krite 25 Gaming says a super chat, some curly L's. It says there's a test version of a CBC, a common booster core, that was used for static firing at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Museum. Last I heard, it was in pretty rough shape. That must have come through when we were talking about other Delta cores that were at other places. McCrite 25 Gaming, thank you for the support. And just a couple more. Stefan Batiste gifted a Red Team membership. Flawed Perspective did some Canadian super chat dollars there, saying, of all things Delta Heavy, I will miss its mocked diamonds the most, those super clear hydrogen mock diamonds. Thanks for the coverage. Thanks for the support, Flawed Perspective. And, gosh, I'll get some more of these in the future, but for now, thanks to everybody who supports what we do so we can continue bringing these views and these experiences from a bunch of space nerds who just like talking about rockets. That's us, right? Jack and Adrian?
Yeah,
right. And even if you can't support us monetarily, that's totally chill because we are supported by the community, and the community allows us to bring this footage to everybody, regardless of their ability or desire to monetarily support us. So it's a really cool thing that we get to do because of everybody's support. So don't ever feel bad like, oh, I can't contribute or anything like that. Like, we appreciate all of our viewers just the same. It's amazing that we get to do this.
That's 100% the thing, Jack.
I do want to second what you said, Flawed Perspective super chatted a moment ago about the mock diamonds. Oh gosh, the Hydrolox mock diamonds are so gorgeous. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love all mock diamonds, but there's something about the RS-68s where they're just beguiling. I don't have a better word. Like they are just way too beautiful. Oh look, it's Slick 6.
That's whose name is that on that watermark, Jack?
It's mine. It's my name. I think this is the first remotes that I set up for Slick 6 that were actually successful, because I did shoot, I think, 2 separate Delta mediums from Slick 6, and then this, I forget which one this was. I think NRO-71 maybe. But yeah, I mean, gosh, I'm sad. There's no more West Coast Delta heavies.
Toasty. Look at that.
It's very toasty.
It's so toasty.
Do y'all see the rocket?
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, this one had a launch pad abort, and they had to replace the Rofies, which took like a month. So it got toasty twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Look at that.
Yeah. So this is a remote camera that is firing off photos based on the sound trigger. But I took all the photos, made them each 2 frames long, and then made a little stitched video GIF thing out of it, so you can see the launch sequence.
You know, I have a hypothesis, Jack, and you have seen deltas out there on the West Coast, and we've seen deltas out here on the East Coast. My hypothesis is that deltas that launch from the West Coast out of Vandenberg get more charred than deltas that launch on the East Coast. And you don't know why I think that happens?
Why?
I think the West Coast is drier. Like, it doesn't have the same sort of humidity. And so for some reason, I don't know if that gets into the spray-on insulation foam or what, but it's like the foam is drier and more likely to get charred on the West Coast. And if you look at rockets that launch from the East Coast, it's almost like the humidity or something like that protects the foam a little bit more. But it'd be interesting to see if we get some more experimental observations today, if we get a launch here now coming up in L-30 minutes, to see if the West Coast, which is what you see here with the flowers, that previous launch, is more charred on the side of the booster than the East Coast launches. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I never even considered that might be the case, but you could be right. Although I will have to say that with all the fog and marine layer at Vandenberg, I definitely would not describe it as not humid, but certainly it's nowhere near as humid as Florida or South Texas. And the mock diamonds. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, mock diamonds.
It's like a different type of humidity, like the condensed humidity that turns into the fog that can almost be a little chilly, right? Versus the pervasive humidity of Florida. It's just, the humidity is everywhere at Florida, and it's not really ever foggy. Like, it doesn't condense the way it does, but good grief, it's humid.
Yeah, so this particular shot is the last West Coast Delta IV Heavy, and I was initially really bummed out about it because the way that the smoke went on this one, it obscured the rocket. But as time has gone on, I've grown to really love this image because it kind of makes it more spooky, because it was, of course, an NRO mission.
Of course.
So I don't know, a little bit of a trip down memory lane, but we love Delta. It's such a beautiful rocket to photograph, and so in just under 29 minutes, hopefully we get to see it fly again one last time.
Yep, we'll keep bringing y'all updates as ULA puts them out, but that is what we're doing now. 28 minutes and 45-ish seconds before we may get a launch here from the East Coast. If you're just joining us, it's the Delta IV Heavy. It's United Launch Alliance. Well, it's on both buildings, I guess. I was going to say it's on the building, but I think they made the logo a little bigger. And that is coming up in L-, launch minus 28 minutes and 30 seconds now. So hopefully we see this. Last update we got from ULA was that they had a green expectation on the board, and they were watching the winds, but everything looked like they were good to go. Tracking no technical issues. I almost don't want to say that out loud, lest I jinx it. But that is the current status from ULA.
And you don't want to talk a frozen valve into existence.
Exactly. Just don't even mention valves; they have ears. I wonder if we
will go away.
I wonder if we can't check in with the folks out in the field to see how things are doing out there. Let's ask if Max
do have a
is around
question
real quick.
just for them
ask a
too.
question. Go for it. Yeah.
Well, Max, are you there? Can we ask you a question?
Yes, Jack, I'm still here.
So let's see. Princess Jules is asking, what cameras are you all using for this flight? What's going on behind the scenes? So give us a little rundown, Max. What's going on down there with Team Florida?
Oh boy. So with Team Florida being in full force today, we have I think between all of us, Julia, myself, Dee, and Sawyer, I want to say we have upwards of probably 9 to 10 cameras stationed nearby the launch pad to capture a different angle. I shoot Canon primarily, so I'm running 2 ADDs, a 60, a 5D Mark II, 5D Mark III, and my primary body is a 5D Mark IV. I'm not sure what D uses for his video. I want to say it's Zcam, and I believe a Red is also what is helping out with the stream today, providing a different angle. Julia shoots Nikon, and I believe Sawyer does as well, but I don't shoot Nikon, so I know nothing about that. But going back to
Nikon
LC34,
heathens.
Jeez.
But we have camera stationed over at Launch Complex 34, which is roughly a half a mile away from the launch pad itself, and the purpose of that is essentially to gain a separate and different perspective from where we are over at ITL Causeway. We have a variety of compositions selected out between wide, tight, exposed dark, exposed light. I mean, between the cameras being used and all of the infrastructure and just sheer, I mean, LC-34 is abandoned, and that was, of course, where the Apollo 1 tragedy happened. So there's a lot of old abandoned hardware over there that could be used as interesting foreground elements and of the like. So we have cameras out left, right, and center here. Team, as we said earlier, Team Florida is out in full force, and we're just hoping that we get a little bit higher of a cloud ceiling today. And it looks like actually that's starting to happen, because it would be a shame to watch the final Delta fly into clouds like less than 10 seconds into flight. So, but otherwise, I think the weather actually looks better. The cloud ceiling has risen a little bit, and there is a bit more blue sky hanging above our heads with the sun poking in and out. So I would say things are so far trending in the right direction.
All right, good deal. Folks, you can hear it is still pretty windy out there. Max's microphone fighting against the wind, but we can hear what you're saying just fine, just fine Max, actually. As of a couple minutes ago, here's that update from ULA. They said, well, it's about 5 minutes ago now, they're 30 minutes away from the liftoff time.
And I have a weather update.
Aha.
Launch Weather Officer Mark Berger reports that current and forecast conditions are close to the threshold for acceptable criteria for the Delta IV Heavy liftoff. The team will continue to monitor the winds. That's the update of the weather briefing. Sorry to jump in there, but that just came in.
That's okay. They didn't say which side close, like close just over or close just under the constraint limit. I wonder which it is.
So I feel like they don't have the answer as of now, which is the problem. So we'll see.
Interesting.
But, interesting for sure. We'll just have to wait and see here. I mean, it's we cannot certainly predict it. If a ULA is not 100% certain, there's no way of us to predict it. So we'll see what happens. But it seems like we might get a Delta today.
We'll see.
Adrian, so right now in the count, we are L- 23 minutes and a number of seconds. T- in the count, we're at what? We're holding it T-4 minutes, right? Or are we not there yet?
Yes. We are at the T-4 minute hold since about half an hour. and during this hold, they will put the spacecraft to internal power, finish final status polls, and give the go no go of the launch director closer to launch. So this is basically all the checkout phase. But they are already at the T-4 minute holds for a while now, and they will be for roughly 19 more minutes, hopefully.
So for 19 more minutes, because we're in this hold, there's sort of more decision time. If we get to that T-4 minutes and they have not made a decision on the weather, then they're going to need to push further into the window, right?
Yes, they can still hold. They can still move a bit. I mean, they cannot move a bit. We are talking about 3 more hours that they can move. So, yeah, they still have some time here. If they don't favor these conditions, they can hold more. They can top off more.
Yeah, the current T0 is less. We said about 4 hours is the window, but the current T0 is less than halfway through that 4-hour window, or 4-ish hour window, I guess is the right way to say it. So still plenty of time, even if they need to hold for weather. Again, to repeat, that last update from ULA is that the conditions are close to the limits right now, but they didn't say which side of close they're on. Jeez, here's a paragraph somebody wants us to read.
Oh, this is the adjust file, which is one of these acronyms in spaceflight where I'm 100% sure that that was planned, because that's the automatic determination and dissemination of just update steering terms. So this is basically the final steering and flight computer data that they are uploading to Delta IV Heavy right now, which will be used to steer the rocket. This is based on last minute telemetry and all the things they have to adjust close to launch.
I like how they made it the adjust file, but they had one extra D in there. They were so close.
Adjust.
The adjust.
They were like, we cannot get rid of the second D. It's impossible.
It's impossible. All right.
More questions?
Yeah, let's grab some more questions, Jack.
Mad Max is asking. A great movie, by the way. Adrian, have you seen Fury Road?
No.
You haven't seen Fury Road? Oh my god, that's the next movie we're watching. Mad Max is asking, why is the exhaust of the RS-68 orange? It's orange when it's a hydrolox engine. Is that down to an ablative nozzle or something like that?
It comes down to ablative nozzle and also mixture ratio. It's not. I wouldn't call it orange. It's orangish. It's pretty clear still. It's still a hydrogen. So there's still a pretty clear flame. It always depends on camera angle and stuff. But yeah, it's probably coming down to both ablative and also mixture ratio on the engine. That sometimes makes a big difference in terms of how a rocket engine looks versus, for example, the RS-25 on SLS or the shuttle. There's also the other effect with RS-25 that you have 2 giant SRBs next to it, which always changes your perception of what's orange.
Nice. It makes you think that it's more orange because it's next to things that are orange?
No, it seems less orange. For example, the Delta IV Heavy is more popping because there's not these bright SRBs next to it.
Gotcha.
That are just
exhaust.
The exhaust, because the SLS exhaust is almost not visible because you need to the camera shots and everything is primed so they don't get completely blown out by the SRBs.
Yeah, I still have to make that video one day. It needs to be a short maybe, but the different ways that rocket exhaust glows or changes color based on what's inside of it. If I had to guess, the orangishness that we see, or the little tint, I guess, might be because of some parts of the nozzle that are ablating away and contributing, not going to say contamination, right, but different elements into the plume that causes it to change color a little bit like that. So you get all sorts of different stuff. You may get some black body radiation off carbon pieces that are left. There's no methane in this rocket, right? If you're doing hydrogen and oxygen, you've got some H's and you've got some O's. And what comes out the other side is nice, clear H2O. You combust it together, and the hydrogen and the oxygen become water coming out the back of this after the fire, of course. And if you see colors or you see imperfection or contamination, that color that you see is because of other elements that are messing up I don't even think messing up is the right way to say it, just contributing or ending up in that exhaust as the rocket takes off. There's a whole video on this, by the way. We did experiments. We like changed the air fuel mixture on a methane burner and then talked about how the different air fuel mixtures change the color of the flame, because that's Starship related. But anyways, more questions, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, just something I sort of never noticed until I became a photographer is light has different colors, and things that emit light have different colors, and some are more blue and some are more orange, and yeah, white balance. Who knew? Let's see. Second stage anomaly. I don't even want to read that out. I don't want to say that name out. This person is asking if this is Slick 37B, what launched from Slick 37A? If I'm not mistaken, and Adrian, if I am mistaken, feel free to jump in and stop me, or DOS. Slick 37A never really existed. There was LC-37B and LC-37A back in like the Saturn era, and several Saturn rockets, I think Saturn 1s, launched from 37. But then that was all demoed, and then when Boeing took control of the pad, they did not rebuild A, they just rebuilt 37B, and that's when it became Slick instead of LC. Did I get that right?
That's yeah.
I'm going to take your word for it, Jack.
The 37A has never been used. LT-37B launched the uncrewed 71, and 37B is the build-out complex. 37A was not used.
Yeah, I got to jump in real quick here, y'all. Not going to spend a ton of time here. So much more support is coming in. Folks that are gifting memberships. Sheriff Tracy, thank you so much. Some more tips that are coming in and super chats and stuff like that. We've got one from Super Steph, did a $50 super chat saying, "Das, we want a shirt for 1 million subs." Oh, geez. We'll have to look at that. Like, it's such a thing to make like a big milestone of that, but we'll think about it. We'll think about something to do. Paul Batra did $20 super chat saying Thunderbirds are go. Nice. Talking on the Spectrum was in there as well with the super chat. See if I missed anybody else. ET did a super chat. I wonder if you had to phone home for that, making a joke about the engine-rich exhaust. James Juries did a super chat as well. But let me hit this, because a name we see in our chat supporting what we do all the time, Jerwa. Jerwa actually
Jerwa?
I know, right? Jerwa moseyed over to tips.nasaspaceflight.com. Another way to support what we're doing, if you don't have a Google account, you don't want to go through YouTube system, you can go directly to our website and you can do a tip, which sort of comes straight to us. But Jerwa, after visiting the website, sent us $1,000. Is there a period in there that I'm not seeing?
No, there's no.
Copy paste it into a different font to make sure that I'm saying it correctly. I'm not crazy, right? Y'all are seeing that too.
It's completely. I'm seeing it. Like, sorry, the part of my brain that is supposed to coordinate speaking is not working properly.
No kidding. I don't look like a fool. It's like, yeah, it was a $10 tip, and you just can't see the dot. It's $1,000, folks. And Jerwa leaves a message, which I want to read, saying, "So I've been a subscriber to this channel since you were at 2K, 2,000 subs, and now you're approaching 1 million is just bonkies. There's literally thousands of people who know more about rockets now because of you. Great job, and keep it up. Also, what are the towers for?" Jerwa, I mean, you got me and Jack and Adrian on here. All we can do is say thank you for not just this support, but your longtime support. Member of the community, always spreading it around, making it so that we can keep doing what we're doing. That $1,000 tip going direct to us at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. Thank you so much for the support and the kind words. Maybe we could find somebody to answer what the purpose of those towers are. Anybody? Jack? Can anybody answer this question?
So we have the two towers there that are supposed to keep out lightning, and we have another tower there in which they build rockets.
Build rockets.
Yeah, it's basically a rocket build tower. So different towers, and I think on the bottom left we see one that is transporting energy potentially. There are many towers here. Like
there are lots of towers.
A lot of towers on the shot here.
Yeah, sorry, I was
Folks.
talking while muted because I was just so flabbergasted. I went into the member Discord, and Jerwa's been in there forever, and it's
Yep.
like an old running joke where we'll make cursed rockets with the emoji in the member Discord. So I had to go into member Discord, thank Jerwa, and post up the Delta 4 Mega Heavy Super Supreme just for them. So thank you, Jerwa, for everything, not just this, but like it's just repeated insane amounts of support and kind words, and it's so appreciated. It means the world to us. Just there's no words. There are no words that can sufficiently thank.
You got it. It lets us keep doing what we're doing. And like think about it, like so many people, there's so many photographers out there, so many videographers, and it's tough. Like you can go to a rocket launch and you can take amazing pictures of a rocket launch, and it's so hard to make money doing that. So many people just do it as a passion project. But with NSF, and when y'all support what we do, we're able to help folks turn some of that passion and that hobby into something they can get some financial support out of as well to help them keep doing it. So thank you again, Jerwa, for the support there. We really do appreciate you showing up. Now we are less than 12 and a half minutes from launch. NROL-70, Delta 4 Heavy, still sitting over there on the pad, things continuing to tick down as we wait to see what we're going to see if we get a liftoff from the Cape today. The final liftoff of the Delta 4 Heavy is what we've got planned. Let's keep on going with some more questions, Jack.
Really quick, we do have a question just because Jerwa was so awesome and used the tips.nasaspaceflight.com function. We did have a question earlier, 61 minutes ago, from Gareth Cole asking, why don't you guys have a donate option on the store? Well, it's not donate, it's tip, but
it's tips,
that is a thing, and Jerwa, we appreciate you. Shall we say, taking liberal advantage of that ability. Thank you so much. More questions. Here's kind of an interesting one. Dave Dodd is asking, has the entire NASA spaceflight team ever been all together in one room at the same time? No. A lot of us have, like for
almost impossible.
For Flight 1 or for remember IFA DOS? I think that was the last time most of us were in one place. Other than Starship Flight 1.
We got like an Airbnb and we were like crashing on every horizontal surface, like filling the Airbnb with NSF folks. But even that was nowhere near everybody.
Yeah, like I think the biggest meetings are like what 25% of the team max because there's so many. It's like I it's impossible. It's so many people. I don't even want to give a head count because I think I would get it wrong.
Yep. Hey, another update from ULA here, y'all. Just a couple minutes ago, talking about they're doing an internal poll. We don't have that specific poll, but the results of the poll are going to be routed to Jim Zimmerl, the ULA Director of Engineering, who will supply his readiness to launch when pulled by the ULA Launch Director coming up. So we are hoping that from ULA, we get that readiness poll, the final poll, but we are not getting the detailed poll. We're just getting text updates on that status. And hopefully when ULA gets to the actual polling, we'll be able to share that with you here. If we show a poll all of a sudden when we stop talking, that is what we are trying to do. It's so tough because you never know exactly when it's happening. It just appears on the screen, then we have to be quiet.
Can we just acknowledge the fact that this would be the final Delta for Heavy poll? Like I don't know why, but these Delta, like especially these ULA polls, since they're like really polling, they're like did somebody saying go, they always just hit different, and this might be the final Delta for Heavy poll ever.
Yep. Look from over here. There's some blue skies. There's some blue skies from the Cape side.
I like blue sky.
Oh, from this perspective,
don't like thick clouds.
Yeah, those are thick clouds, but look at the blue sky up above it. This is at Port Canaveral. That's Jetty Park in the foreground and the beach there. So at the pad specifically, it may be punching through those clouds, and we may have an opportunity to see it from over here. We'll see what we get, but I like seeing the blue somewhere in the sky, right?
We like blue. Blue, good color.
Blue, good color.
If only Delta 4 Heavy had been painted Delta Blue.
Delta Blue.
Yes, I want the Delta Blue.
Also SLS.
Tori tweeted that. Didn't Tori tweet like a comment, or somebody tweeted a concept at Tori that was a Delta Blue, a very specific color of blue, and instead of orange, it was painted that Delta Blue?
It would be so.
I am Mr. Orange, but I'm here for that.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't look right. Like
I love the Delta blue. It's my favorite color.
I mean, my comment, Adrian, is don't paint your rockets the color of the sky. Like,
Okay,
I want to see the rocket.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
stealth.
But to be fair,
Stealth.
yeah, that would be very fitting for this rocket, which basically only launches like stealth satellites. Like, be stealthy.
The NRO rockets are all painted Delta blue, so they blend into the sky when they launch.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Perfect.
I mean, less than 10
should be-
minutes now. We're coming up on 8 minutes. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, we should be really close to that poll. I am very much ready to stop talking as soon as we hear that poll starting. And Adrian, to your point, it is one of those things that we don't get with Falcon 9 launches, really. And there being so many Falcon 9 launches, it sort of becomes easy to forget that the polling is kind of like an iconic spaceflight thing. I mean, SpaceX does polling, but they don't broadcast the polls. So we'll definitely be listening for that because it's just so cool to hear each of the controllers.
Look at
there it
this.
is.
Ground
See if we get
System
audience.
spacecraft and the U.S. Space Force Eastern Range. The vehicle system readiness poll includes electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, propulsion systems, and flight control, and propellants. Let's listen in as Scott Barney performs the final polling.
-7 minutes. Status check to proceed with terminal count. First stage systems, propulsion. Go. Hydraulics. Go. Locks. Go. LH2. Go. Second stage systems, locks.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
Electrical systems, airborne. Go. Ground. Go. Facility. Go. RFFTS. Go. Flight control. Go. COM. Go. GCQ.
Go.
Operation support. Go. Pneumatics. Go. Umbilicals. Go. HAZGAS. Go. ECS.
Go.
Radar monitor. Go. Mechanical engineering. Go. Quality. Go. Op safety manager. Go. ULA safety officer. Go. Vehicle system engineer. Go. Anomaly chief. Go. Range coordinator. Clear to proceed. Launch director. Launch vehicle is ready to launch. Mission director. You have permission to launch. Proceeding with the count. ALC. Verified T0 is set for 18:45:000. Verified. MAQ established swing on lock pins pull. Active.
There we go, folks. You heard it quite a few times in a row there. Went down the entire list. The United Launch Alliance team go from every position, and that means that Delta 4 here out on the pad is go for launch. That was smooth. Adrian, are you still with us?
That was that was amazing, Adrian.
I mean, it's amazing. It's the best. It's the best. I'm so excited for this. It's such a cool rocket, and the bittersweet feeling is kicking in. Like I'm not sure. I mean, you all saw this very close, and I don't know about you, but like seeing this beast potentially flying for last time, it's the bittersweet feelings are certainly kicking in here.
Wow.
I love the polls so much. You get a little bit of every controller's personality with a single word, however they say the word. It's just, this vehicle is fueled, and it is getting ready to launch so soon here for the last time. Like you said, Adrian, it's bittersweet, but at least we get to see it one more time. At least it's not over yet.
The poll humanizes it. Like the poll brings in all of the voices from the chorus of human beings who are responsible for making this piece of machinery work, right? It's not magic. It's not like you just wish really hard and Delta 4 launches payloads. Like there's so many people, so many teams of people, and each one of those voices you just heard represents an entire team, an entire unit of people who are responsible for one specific set of things for this massively complicated machine. And to go down that poll and to hear a go from every single one of them, it really brings it back home that I got a little guys. I heard a count there.
This is flight control. We have a
They're counting. They're out of the hold.
Red line fault at T-minus 3 minutes and 58 seconds. LC switch not ready. All personnel go to reset.
Stand by, listen. It's a hold. It sounds like.
LC switch is
I
not
heard
ready.
red line.
Flight control is ready to set clock T-4 and holding.
Roger. ALC, reset countdown clock, T-4 minutes and holding.
Roger.
Yeah, so it seems like they initially resumed the count, but they put the clock back to
Flight
T-4.
control SS inactive and SCS in pre-flight mode.
Roger.
And just like that,
Properly
Delta
evaluate
shenanigans,
Mach 3
or perhaps
second report, if ready to restart.
4800. Roger. Red line that we've.
Yeah, we heard a red line in
SRM
there.
ignition switch to disable position.
SRM ignition disabled.
ALC, count. Disregard.
LC countdown clock has been reset to T-4 and holding.
Roger. For step 90, all stations recycle systems back, T-4 holding in configuration. Recycle occurred at T-3 minutes, 58 seconds. Report status at completion.
LC fuel 1.
Go fuel 1.
Substep golf. CBC LH2 inerting is active. Excuse me. LH2 conditioning is active.
Roger.
LC FTS.
Go.
Substat Juliet, FTS safe and external.
Roger.
LC locks 2.
Go.
Second stage LO2 conditioning active.
Roger.
LC locks 1.
Go.
CBC locks conditioning active.
Roger.
LC ECS.
Go.
ECS set point stable.
Roger.
LC fuel 2.
Go.
Second stage LH2 conditioning active.
Roger.
LC SYS.
Go.
GC3 ready.
Roger.
LC has gas.
So now they're setting up the rocket.
Foxtrot has gas ready. And as MEQ, should I reinstall lock pins?
Yes, let's install pins.
Roger.
LC AB.
Go.
For substat Papa. Vehicle external.
Roger.
LC prep 101.
Go.
All systems are stable.
Roger.
LC flight control.
So now we wait for a new T0.
Step 180, substep kilo, flight control ready.
Roger.
LC MEQ.
Go.
Substep Oscar. TSM and swing arm systems ready.
Roger.
And substep Alpha. Pneumatic pressure.
Roger.
Let's do this, folks. We don't want to keep talking over them, so we may pull that audio. But just to explain all the things that you've been hearing going on there, we heard a red line monitor. And think of this huge board moving all these different numbers and parameters and that sort of stuff. And you get things that approach the red line. And if something exceeds the red line, like a number is out of family or a number is out of bounds, then you've hit the red line, or the red line monitor is showing something an issue. We did hear red line monitor in there that sounded like what was happened. We don't have an official announcement yet, but we are going to wait till ULA tells us what happens. What we can observe is that they came out of that T-4 minute hold, and the clock counted only a couple seconds. I think it counted like down 2 seconds. The number I heard I thought was 3:58. And then they hit that red line, it sounded like, and they went into a hold. And that is where we are right now. So everything pulled green. All of the humans watching all of their stations said everything looked like it was ready to go. And as soon as it started to count again, something hit a red line that the system did not like. And so they have put it into a hold. There's ULA talking about what we were just hearing the teams doing. Delta IV Heavy is safe. Launch team is reconfiguring systems following this unplanned hold. So you heard all sorts of things. You heard a couple call-outs about the conditioning, the LOX conditioning, where they're keeping those tanks' temperatures and pressures where they need to be. You heard some information about pins, locking pins, and you heard the call to put those pins back into position. That is happening as well, but all of the different things that are happening, all the steps that were being taken to make the rocket ready to go, it sounds like they are safing it because there was something on a screen somewhere that they did not like. So, or that some number didn't like. And there's all sorts of different things that can be happening here. Every one of these sensors. Go ahead. Is there an update?
Yeah, I think we can now say it because ULA is also confirming it on the stream. The ULA has confirmed that this launch will stand down for today, and they will go for a 24-hour recycle. So NROL-70 has just scrubbed.
There you go. All right. Well, everybody watching the stream now has an authentic Delta IV Heavy experience where you get down in the count and then you get a scrub. That's an authentic experience. Everybody agree?
We need one more. We need one
100%.
more. We need one more where they go all the way to ignition and then abort. And then once we are there and then have another scrub, then it's an authentic Delta.
Adrian,
this would not be a true Delta launch without a scrub close to T0 classic.
Yeah,
as usual.
Let me say something here, right? The way Delta IV scrubs is important, and we don't have a ton of more information from ULA yet, just that they're scrubbing, and we'll be getting another number from them at some point. But we did not get down to the count where the Rofies ignited, the sparkers ignited, because there's a big difference when getting so far down to launch that those Rofies go off, and then being far enough in advance of launch that the Rofies haven't fired, and the difference is counted in weeks, if I recall correctly. Like, you get past a certain point in the scrub, and you get those Rofies. You can actually see Rofies firing there, sparks coming out in the shadow on the left-hand side. But we did not get down to the part of the count where those Rofies would have fired, so at least that constraint isn't going to be a thing. Now, there's other stuff that could be going on. Again, we don't have any official information specifically. We'll share that as soon as we get it. But we are currently scrubbed for the day. Let's update the overlay as well. There we go. It's like magic. Where we are scrubbed. Look at this video, by the way.
Wonderful. Just to point out,
Jay is
not
a master.
Repeat that, Adrian?
Just to point it out, that left is not from today.
Yeah, that is not live. That is not live on the left. You came to see a launch, so we're playing some previous launches. That one's going to be from Vandenberg.
Right. Yeah, Jay is an absolute wizard with these video remotes. I'm so thankful that he has all of these Slick 6 launches documented in this manner, because what a beautiful rocket. We didn't get to see it launch today, but they'll try again tomorrow. And you know what? We have this pretty darn good consolation prize, if you ask me.
Yep.
More Delta. We get one more countdown. So that's nice.
More Delta, more better.
Oh,
that means we get another poll, too.
Yeah, we get another poll. It's an authentic experience. Folks, before you take off, I know whenever we announce a scrub, everybody heads for the hills because this rocket will not be launching today. You know how to get back to us. Click the little subscribe button. Turn on the notifications. Make sure you know when we go live again. We will be here answering your questions and bringing you live coverage of the next attempt. As of me saying this out loud, we don't know what that attempt is going to be. Might it be tomorrow? Might it be a couple days? Not announced yet. But as soon as it is, be on the lookout. Sub to us here on YouTube. You know how to do that. Ring the little bell thingy so you get a pop-up notification or whatever. And then when it notifies, you actually click through to the stream because algorithm shenanigans, right? Also, you can check us out over on X, the Everything app. Follow us there. We tweet the streams there as well. Whatever, Jack. You know what I mean. Follow us over there as well. Anyways, before y'all take off, just make sure you know how to get back to our coverage when it starts up again. We're going to have to cut off real quick here because our folks out at the Cape are going to need to pack their cameras. We may just have to show you Fleet Cam or something like that coming up here. But how are we doing, Jack?
You know, we never like a scrub, but we like scrubs far more than we like RUDs or mission failures. And as we have said multiple times on this stream, Delta is a complicated rocket. And hydrogen's a tricky, I guess, molecule because it's H2. There's not like a single atom. Anyways, hydrogen tricky, delta complicated, and you know what? ULA will sort this out and try again tomorrow. So I'm happy we get another go no go poll because I think that is easily the highlight of my day so far.
It's also, in the words of Tori Bruno, I got this from Tori, you'd rather be on the ground wishing you were flying than flying wishing you were on the ground. So today, whatever tripped that red line monitor, keeping the rocket on the ground, that's where you want it to be, because you don't want to be flying looking at that red line being exceeded, being like, geez, I hope that valve or whatever line holds. ULA will figure it out, and they will give us when they're going to be trying this again. Stand by for that. Just make sure you can find your way back to us. We have these other views. Oh, look, see, it's even clearing up. Jack.
It would have been perfect.
It is. It would have been nice. But you know what? Well, I have to do this. I was going to type this in Discord, but I'm just going to say it out loud. Talking about people being able to find their way back to us, we did just hit 1 million subs, and again, rather than typing this in Discord to the NSF team, I'm just going to say it out loud here on stream. From the deepest recesses of my cold, dead heart, thank you to everybody on the NSF team for just being an absolutely insanely committed individual with whatever your role or task is. NSF is not just the people you hear on stream. NSF is the people that make this organization work. It's the chat mods, it's the SBL ops, it's the people who write the scripts, it's the people who collate the data. Alex and Adrian. It's the people who develop the software. It's the people who run the streams. It's the people who are out in the field. Like it's such a huge team. I'm so incredibly honored to get to work with such amazing individuals, and I'm so thankful that our work resonates with enough of you that we have somehow just hit 1 million subs. I really,
subs.
If you told me this a year ago, 5 years ago, that this would be a thing that I got to do for a living, I would have never believed you. So, it's amazing and humbling, and so much work has gone into it, and so much support has gone into it from y'all, and it's there are no words. Thank you.
You know the biggest part, Jack? The biggest part of NSF that we would not be here unless we had this part of NSF is every single person that's watching the stream. Every single person that follows us on social media and clicks the little heart or retweets the tweet. I'm calling it tweets, whatever. People that are over consuming Rocket content on Facebook and keeping up with what's going on, and people that are on our other socials on Instagram and stuff like that, even if they're just like, that's a really cool rocket photo, I'm going to tap the button because I like it. NSF would not be here if the biggest part of NSF, everybody who's a part of the community and loves rockets and loves hearing about what's going on and loves learning and loves chatting with other like-minded people, NSF would not be NSF if y'all didn't keep showing up. So thanks to every single person who gets a notification, who sees something, who stumbled across the stream. I don't know, some people here maybe here for the first time today, but we can do what we do because y'all do what you do, and all you have to do is show up and be a part of the community. So thank you so much for all the support that everybody has given us over. I don't even know. NSF is like 19 years old now, like all the way back to the pre-forum days, I think. But y'all keep showing up.
Indeed.
The YouTube channel is on, I think, the 29th, crossing 5 years.
It's 5
Just
years?
to point that out. It's tomorrow, it should be 5 years.
No kidding.
That's insane. That's insane.
Can I speed run?
It's something extra fitting about this being on a Delta stream as well, because there are always the occasional trolls who are like, "Oh, you only ever cover SpaceX." It's like, buddy, we cover any rocket we can point a lens at.
Yeah.
And so I'm more than pleased that this has happened during a Delta stream. Y'all are the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quickly, so many people have been supporting us as we're going through here. Let me say thanks to some folks. Frio Dog, I don't know if you're from Texas, but maybe you're tubing. Thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Ray gifted 10. WG Mojo did some curly L's, 10 of them it looks like. Congrats to your whole team on 1 million. Frio Dog was a pad rat as well and gifted it. Did D Joker, I guess it was, Nick Salve says, "You guys, I've got this on mute during a meeting, and I look up and see the rocket on fire immediately after." Well, it's Delta. It's Delta. It's going to be on fire. That was a replay. We were saying that out loud. Didn't mean to surprise you there. Matt Skosler, thank you for gifting some subs. Parker Emery did a super chat. Schoenring did a super chat. BVF was in there as well. What is this? Ryan is watching this stream from a submarine facility. All right, cool. Didn't get a launch today, but thanks for the super chat there. There was a $50 super chat from Bideford. Driving back from closing. Hold so I can get... Oh, no. Did you jinx it, Bideford? Hold, please, so I can get back to my TV to watch. You'll be able to watch. It's not going today, Bideford.
Bideford!
Eric Spittle did a $5 tip and said, "This is not $1,000. It all adds up, Eric. Thank you for the support." And there was one I didn't want to miss. Stabby Unicorn. The name that it says here in the list. $100 tip over at tips.nasaspaceflight.com says, "How many launches would a launch panel launch if a launch panel could launch launches?" The answer, Stabby Unicorn, is not today. Delta 4 Heavy not going out today. It was scrubbed. We will be getting another T0, another date for Delta. You know something? Look at those clouds in the sky over here. Hopefully we get a nice blue sky for the launch. It's not what we do the launches for, but I'd be fine with a blue sky. Wouldn't you, Jack?
I wouldn't mind it, certainly.
Adrian, you down for
Although sometimes, sometimes clouds are good. They give you a little bit of contrast, but not too much clouds. I always go back to the movie The Aviator, where it's like, Howard Hughes is like, we need clouds.
It's like context. It's like speed context. It doesn't look like it's moving if there's no clouds. Like, hey, folks, I think we've got a special guest who's hopped into the stream real quick here. Can we call you a special guest, Chris?
You probably can. That's probably the best thing. I just want to thank everybody in the community for getting us to where we are, and especially the team. We've got a huge team, and I have been, without swearing, one of the luckiest people, should we say? Very lucky person to have, out of the blue, via just starting a site, people finding us and offering what they can do. I was a little taken aback by the photo of Chris G and Daz earlier, because if that had not happened, we would not be doing this. If Mary had not been posting her video clips and breaking the forum because so many people were downloading them into our forum, finding us, we didn't find Mary, Mary found us, posting them in our forum, being so popular, and then allowing us to put them on YouTube. And those late nights of bandy-camming clips together on a YouTube channel, because we thought that is one way to save the forum server costs rather than any kind of ambitions about a site, about a YouTube channel. I could name 1,000 stories about people who found Mark in the first year. The site would have broken within the first year if it wasn't for Mark. If it wasn't for the L2 members in the first year, I couldn't have personally afforded to pay for the server costs. Simple as that. The site would have failed. There'd been no YouTube channel. This was 19 years ago. There are so many stories I could mention. I don't want to go on too long because I know we're coming to the end of a stream. But I just wanted to pop in and just say thanks to everyone. I've been kind of standoffish about it before with the countdown because I'm not big on the numbers. I'm just big on what we can do in the future. And your support is incredible. The community we've got, and I'm quite old now, so I know the internet. I'm quite battle worn by it. I know what most of the internet is like. Our community is like a shining symbol of how a community should be, and I am forever appreciative of it. I don't come across that way a lot of time because of my Yorkshire accent and the way I am. I'm quite old and battle worn, as I mentioned earlier, but trust me, I do appreciate every single day, and that's why I love putting in the hours, because it's worth it, and the end results of what the community brings to us and allows us to go forward and pays for all these things we do is everything. So thank you to all of you, and thank you especially to our team, who are amazing.
Thanks, Chris. Y'all, hey, if some people might not know, the voice that you're hearing there, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, that's Chris Bergen. It says managing editor. He's going to turn red if we say it, but he's actually the founder of NSF. Like, you started the idea, it was 19 years ago, Chris? Good grief.
2005. I was on the old space.com message board, which no longer exists. It was the only place you could talk about the space shuttle on the internet. And it was quite a bad, rough place. It was after Columbia, I remember, so there was obviously a lot of emotions running. And some of the shuttle guys knew I was a journalist at the time, and they said, why don't you start a site? We could start afresh. We'll all come over, and we'll start talking about space shuttle on there. And that's how it started. It was a bet. And it was, actually, I was not going to do it.
Yeah.
But one night I thought, why not? And that's when I started it. And that's how it all started. There's so many good luck items and coincidences and good fortune behind all this. It's kind of, you could write a book.
You probably could, honestly.
Do it.
Do it.
I would read it. I would read it.
Nice. Oh, wow. Anyways, y'all, if you're just joining us, we're doing a little bit of a post show here because we've just crossed over 1 million subscribers here on the YouTube channel. It's even more that if you add in everything else on all the other different social medias and the number of people who in YouTube even knows that we have a website. Do y'all know we have a website and we have like articles about space and roundups and do y'all know about the forums? I wonder if some of the people on YouTube even know, Chris.
I tell you what, there's I'm just looking at the forum stats now. 1 second, scrolling down.
Yep.
There's thousands of people on the forum right now. So our forum and news site, they have had their audience from the start. They're kind of like the OGs of NSF, and they get linked to the channel. They probably might be thinking, "Oh, you got a channel." It's kind of fun synergy. But we have the whole kabang. We have a news site, a forum, a YouTube channel, and all the socials. So we're everywhere now. And it all started on just a news site with a little forum attached with about 10 people, myself, some shuttle guys, and some people who just found us. And it just grew from there. There was no advertising. It just grew naturally. And I don't know how. I honestly don't know how. It really, kind of crazy.
Chris, it's a place. I mean, literally how it started. Some folks who loved space, who loved shuttle, wanted a place to hang out and communicate and talk to each other. And you literally told the story like you went off and you made a place where folks who love space and like this like-minded community could come together and just be a community and celebrate space, learn about stuff, share things, disagree on things. There's lots of disagreements in the forums, right? But just discuss things and be a part of this thing that's space. And it's changed so much from shuttle to all of the different things that we cover now. But the very beginning of it was just some space enthusiasts, space lovers, shuttle lovers who wanted a place they could hang out, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, sorry, Adrian. It's kind of like you get a collective of people with the same kind of like interests. That's going to happen on the internet. That's going to happen. But when people like it so much and seem to understand the direction you want to take something in and want to join that and be part of it, the amount of people we have volunteering for us is crazy. You know, the team we've got, you could probably count in over 100 at least, because the amount of people who like moving cameras and just the moderators and people like that. And then you've got all the people putting in like the proper work, who like, crazy work of Daz, I'm going to talk about you and Jack and all the people like that who are like literally on the ground dealing with things that provide these photons through your monitor to show live views. I mean, all the stuff that I don't understand. This is the thing, you see, none of this would have happened without you guys. And the community then funding those things, buying the cameras, buying the equipment, hiring the people to do the things. It wouldn't have worked without the collective community and team we've got. And yeah, I'm going to go on forever if you're not careful, so I'll leave it at that.
I mean, it really, we say the word community a lot, but it really is like we as an NSF, people who work for NSF or work with NSF, are a community of people, and we're friends and we're very passionate about this stuff. And it's just, I'm just so thankful the internet exists so that we can find other people that are similarly inclined and that care. And I'm so thankful that there's interesting things happening in spaceflight so that so many people care.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've all been at a party or been hanging out with our friends who might not care about rockets, and you try and explain, some cool thing that's being launched or some science discovery that's been made or what have you, and they're like, yeah, I don't really care about that, or why are we wasting money on that? And you know what? Every viewpoint I can understand to some extent, but the fact that we've been able to cultivate such an amazing community of people who are the most supportive people, who come up to us when they see us out here in Starbase or at the Cape or wherever and say such nice things, like it really, like, I will crawl across broken glass to set up a camera. Like, I don't care if it means that we get to have a cool camera angle and share it with people around the world and be excited about it and get people excited about the future and excited about spaceflight. Like, I don't care. I will happily eat hot coals. I really don't care. And it's just it's so nice. It's so nice. I'm so thankful that y'all show up for this stuff because I mean, personally, as an artist, you can make things and you can shout into the void, and it's still fulfilling to make things, but it's that much more fulfilling when you get to share things with people and people are just as excited about it as you are.
Yeah.
I think it's
Adrian needs to talk. Adrian, talk.
I think it's also like I love the fact what Chris just told about like what the origin of like giving people just a place to discuss space and be excited about it, and I love that is in the team as well. Like everybody that works on NSF is just such a huge nerd, like in a good way. Where you can sit with team members here for 4 hours and discuss rockets, no problem. Like that's easy. And
that never happens.
It's true.
No, never. And it's like it's the best. It's every single day is the best. And again, thanks to Chris to allow us to all to be in this journey basically, because without you it wouldn't be this.
Apparently, we're showing other
Thanks,
cameras
Chris.
now. These live stream cameras from Starbase. Chris is still here, right?
Yeah, I've got one other thing to mention as well. I probably, because I've not scripted this, you may have guessed from that. But the team, I always include people who have been with us before. We're very fortunate that our team is probably very long-term on the most part. And the 3 people we've lost who've been core team are Chris G, Thomas Berghand, and Michael Baylor, who have all been part of our integral growth. And the fact that they've been taken by SpaceX is a massive feather in the cap to our team, because that says everything. That when we can say the people we've lost have gone to SpaceX is just like a massive compliment to both their skill set and how they're being found via us. So I want to thank those people as well, who we keep in touch with.
Yeah.
And again, that is all part of our history, and we remembered in my book that I'm going to write.
Your book you're going to write. Nice.
Michael's going to probably hear this, so I should be careful what I say. But I'm glad you said that, Chris, because the contributions of Michael, Chris, and Thomas, all 3 of them, to our growth cannot be understated. All 3 of them were hugely integral to getting us to where we are, just like so many on the NSF team. And so we love you guys. We're happy you're living your best SpaceX lives.
On the one
We miss
hand,
you.
it's like, oh no, they're leaving. Oh gosh, that's terrible. But then you're like, oh, I guess that's okay. They're going to SpaceX. It's fine.
Yeah, I cannot blame them. I cannot blame them.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
can't blame them.
guys, I have to leave the toy factory to go to the amusement park. Oh no!
What?
Are we the toy factory in this, and like SpaceX the amusement park? I feel
The amusement park? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't think about it too hard. It'll start to fall apart really quick.
Yeah, that's okay. It really is amazing, y'all. I mean, we're just hanging out now, and there's 5,000 people hanging out with us. Launch is over. We're just cycling through different views of the different cameras we have. We have a camera at KSC, like looking at the VAB. This isn't like a NASA camera. This is our camera that's permanently deployed there at the press site. But it's so cool that so many people are able to share this stuff with us. There's like still super chats and stuff coming in, and I don't even think we can read them all. I'll say thanks to a couple.
Y'all are the best.
Kitty83, I recognize that name from other parts of the community. Did some curly L's. A super chat says, "This is so wholesome and well deserved. Amazing community. Congrats all." Thank you, Kitty. All the messages that are coming in. So there's a Tyler Glasgow. This is a question. Wait, can we get a question real quick? Angela G. This is only 4 minutes ago. What's the best place to watch launches from Titusville? Anybody have any favorite places from Titusville? I can go.
What's that park that's right across from the really good Mexican restaurant whose name I always forget?
That's what I was going to say. El Leoncito. There's a Mexican food restaurant called El Leoncito, and there's a little park right across the road. And you're 10 plus miles away, right? You're not right next to the pad, but you can see all the pads from there. And you can also get Mexican food before or after the lunch. Might be a little packed. But if you look it up, it's El Leoncito, like 2 words, E-L Leoncito, L-E-N, like lion, right? Leon, Cito. You'll find it right there in Titusville, and that is my favorite place to at least get Mexican food after or before a launch or the day after or something like that. You have all sorts of other options
astronaut memorabilia
Yep,
and like sign
yep.
stuff in the lobby
Yep.
as well. That's cool to look at while you wait for your table.
Not sponsored by El Leoncito, by the way. But there's other places, like if you go up north to the Max Brewer Bridge, or I think it's Space View Park is the name of it up there. You can watch from there. Places in the port, there used to be like, what was it, 401, right there outside the gate to the Space Force Station. I guess it used to be the Air Force Station. They've closed that launch viewing down, unfortunately.
They closed that, unfortunately.
Yep. They did, but at Jetty Park, if we can get one of the Cape cams up, you can see the backside of Jetty Park, which is a great place to watch launches from. Not Titusville, but all the way down through the beaches there at Cocoa. There you go. That's Jetty Park. You can see the jetty after which the park is named. I'm actually not sure if that's true. I made that up, but whatever. This is a fantastic place to watch launches from, either on the beach here in front or on the jetty, where you pay a little bit of a membership fee, or an admission fee to get in there, a parking fee. Up north Titusville, if you cross the Max Viewer Bridge, there is Playa Linda. Entrance fee to that, because that's a state or national park. It's one or the other. We have a video about this, actually. We do. We have an entire video saying how you can watch launches from the Cape.
I'm spamming it in chat as hard as I can.
There you go. Anyway, sorry, we're all like celebrating and doing like behind the scenes reminiscing and stuff, and then I came to a question, and I figured we'd answer the question, because this is sort of how we got here, right? Look at Julia.
This is like, I love this.
I don't think we're actually playing the audio, are we? We're not.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I lost all track here.
If you want a list of all the great places to watch launches from at around Titusville and the Cape over in Florida, that video that we have all spammed in chat is a great place to start. So there's Jack. Jack with a couple more
You know what
spams.
else?
Thanks, Jack.
You know what else I'm going to spam in chat? The hugging Delta IV Heavy emoji, because I think after today's scrub, it might need a hug.
It might need a hug. Nice.
Yeah, there you go. Members at Fear, remember you have members only emoji, so give the Delta IV Heavy a hug for good vibes for tomorrow.
Quick note here, but NSF is totally celebrating the 1 million in the most NSF fashion ever, because we have probably one of the most busy weekends in front of us I've ever seen.
Oh, geez.
Because we have Delta tomorrow, we have NSF Live tomorrow, we have...
We have Twist tomorrow, too.
We have This Week in Spaceflight.
Hey, Alex.
We have Twist tomorrow. Hey, Alex. We have an NSF Live special on Saturday featuring Das and Dr. Philip Metzger.
That's
true. That's coming up. We have Eutelsat 36D on Saturday. We have a Starlink mission on Sunday. So if you like NSF, I'm just saying there's maybe some stuff coming from us in the next 3 days.
There's a bit of content. You know, we try. It's tough to get enough content out there, but there's like 15 live streams and 8 videos and this weekly space roundup, the This Week in Spaceflight, and all sorts of content on social and all that sort of stuff. Look, we like space, okay? We like rockets. What can we say?
In fact, if I can say one thing,
Hey,
it's so
Alex.
hard because tomorrow, if they try again the Delta IV Heavy, it'll be around the same time that we publish Twist. So I don't know now how to write the episode, because I was expecting
Did it launch?
to launch today.
Tell us in the comments. Like,
I like that.
So many things going on.
oh boy.
Alex, do you have any 1 million sub thoughts?
Boy, it's a lot of people. I don't know. It's an overwhelming kind of thought of having 1 million people following us and watching our streams and everything. You all had all the right words to say. I'm more of a writer kind of thing.
The person that writes the most words for NSF has no words.
Well, if
Yeah.
you type some stuff in the back channel, I'll read it out loud for you, Alex.
Give
Give me some bullet points on what you want to say.
Yeah, the bullet points.
Not a script though, bullet points
Not a
only.
script,
Only
bullet
bullet,
points
not an
only.
actual
Points,
script.
not a script.
This is perfect.
Anyways, what's our plan here, folks? I mean, we're scrolling through all these other views. Like, there's Starbase Live. We have multiple 24/7 streams. You're gonna end up over there when we're done, because there's a few thousand people sitting around arguing the details of crane physics and that sort of stuff over on the stream. I think we're getting ready to.
Yeah, if you're curious,
shut down here.
they are setting up Ship 29 to be rolled back to the production site after 2 successful Raptor firings. this week, so that's what you were looking at there.
Over on
Here
Fleet
we're looking at the
Cam.
port. We got Falcon, on Fleet Cam. Now Space Coast Live, getting ready to process that recently returned Falcon 9 booster. Just all the things.
Is that the
show
Blue
full of
Origin crane?
gravitas.
Is that the second port crane that's going up? It is.
Yeah.
Look at the base of it. It's Blue Origin blue.
Yep.
They look like they're bringing up their
Ooh.
massive crane they deliver to the port.
Yeah, we'll see. That might be that's another action item we will probably get in the next few months, where New Glenn
gosh.
rapidly picks up, which is nice. And there's
SpaceX.
McGregor.
There's McGregor. Oh yeah, there's McGregor too. There's 2
1 month
Gs.
from the
Slacking
2
off.
year.
It's 1 month from the 2 years of McGregor Live.
I think it's 2 year, right? 2 years.
I don't know, 2 or 3. I don't know. I can't even keep track anymore.
I lost the count.
Man,
Yes.
the Skunkworks operation to get McGregor Live going, all of
I
the work
remember
on your
that.
part and everyone else's part, Das. And I remember we kept it very close. We did not really talk about it. And then when we dropped it, everyone was like,
"What?"
that was so fun.
It was a
I was
Raptor
on this-
side sort of thing
Yeah.
with Adrian and me and Das. And Das just shifted to something else. He showed this, and there was a
even know.
Raptor firing, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, we didn't
I
know,
didn't
like-
have the sound.
Just to point this out, Alex and I were on that stream. We didn't know.
They didn't know we haven't even built these sites.
Yeah, we purposely did it that way so that we could get a reaction out of you two. Which what an amazing stream! Like this is the kind of stuff we can do with y'all's support. It's the most fun ever.
That was multiple trips to Texas, and it was just, Das is on the road, he's not available, and nobody knew where I was, and I was out there building these sites at McGregor so we would have the 24/7 camera feeds of all the SpaceX engine tests. There's a Falcon out there too. Look,
Yes.
Alex, is that it? Wait, does that actually have a nose cone on it? Is that a Falcon Heavy sidecar?
Yeah, that's Beaton 72. It is being retested again. It was tested
Yeah,
when you were out there putting all these cameras back in 2022. This was being tested there. This was like the last booster before these cameras went live. So it was Beaton 72, and then we had Beaton 74 on this stand. I remember it was the center core for Psyche. I think then it was changed. But this is Beaton 72. It has come back again. It is flying as a side booster on GoSU. Really old memories of that.
No kidding.
I love that Alex can just like goes on like a 10-minute history about it because he just has it in his head. Like it's like, yeah, sure.
It's I don't even remember like how many people knew about McGregor Live. I mean, it would have been me, Jack knew, Chris G would have known, Michael would have known. There's 1 or 2 people out there at McGregor we were working with that knew, but I think it was less than 10 people. Like
think
almost nobody at NSF knew. Go.
I think some of the producers told me in retrospect because they knew like there were like suspicious server activity.
Oh, good times.
I'll never forget there was when the cameras were up, but we hadn't gone live with McGregor Live yet. There was like a hailstorm that passed through, and we had just gotten, and I say you had just gotten done working with one of the microphones in order to get good audio from the field, and this hailstorm goes by, and the hail hitting the little wooden box at the microphone. I was like, this is the most amazing thing. Why are we not live right now? Can we go live right now for the hailstorm? Like it's.
I love Jack. You're such a creative. Like you love the audio of the hailstorm, and I'm like, oh no, the solar panels. I'm gonna have to go and replace all those stupid solar panels from the. We actually put plywood out to protect the solar panels because not the week after we got the sites up, that hailstorm came through and threatened to destroy all of the solar panels we had just deployed. And I was like, no, but it worked out fine in the end. Oh, good times, y'all.
Classic.
Good times. Anyways.
The very definition of.
Wait, leave us hanging. The definition of what?
Definition of what here?
Good times.
Oh, good times. The definition
I'm
of good
agreeing with
times.
you.
Ah, okay.
Syntax,
Anyways.
how does it work?
How does it work? folks, I think that is, we had the Delta IV Heavy stream there, and that was scrubbed. Well, the stream wasn't scrubbed. The stream till happened, but the rocket launch was scrubbed. And then we passed over 1 million subs here on the channel, and then we were just sort of hanging out with y'all. I think that is going to bring us to, this is the definition of suspense, nice. It's going to bring us to the end of the stream coverage here today. We have tons more coverage happening. I already did the thing. Like, y'all know how to find your way back to the channel. If you enjoy this sort of thing, this is the sort of community you want to be a part of, our place you want to hang out, you are welcome to be here. So you know how to get back to us if you need to. I think we've already talked through all the different people that were out for the launch today, but let's just run through the list one more time. Adrian, you feeling we'll get a launch from Delta coming up?
Yeah, I mean, you're about 5 minutes away from me for pinging you all for who's around for tomorrow. So yeah, I'm game. Let's do it again. Yeah, I already figured that. So,
good deal. Jack, thank you as well. Appreciate you being on here today.
Anytime.
In the background, who did we have? Kevin Michael Reed clicking the buttons today, making everything happen. Helped every time. We've gotten to the point where so many people help with every single event. Jay Keegan was there in the background as well. So many people out there. We had the entire team at the launch, or I guess at the scrub today. Julia was out there, Dee was out there, Max was out there, Sawyer was out there. They were all out there with the 45th watching what was going on. Who else? Alex joined us here for a little bit. Gage was even helping out with cameras. You've heard all these names before if you're a part of the community, all the different things we do. Chris B here as well. I don't know, Chris, do you want to say goodbye here at the end of the coverage?
The Burgonator.
The Burgonator.
I do, but it takes me a while to work out where the mute button is on the thing so I can talk.
It's okay.
Yeah. Thanks again to everybody. Great coverage, and hopefully this big rocket will have a final launch coming up very soon, and we'll see Adrian get all sad and upset.
I was already in, like, I had an emotional roller coaster. I was already tearing up in the poll, then it scrubbed, and then we hit 1 million. Like, that was wild 5 minutes.
Emotional roller coaster. Somebody make the "we're so back, we're done" graphic thing, you know? Like...
That was totally it. It was like, we are so back, we are done, we are so done, we are back. It was, that was me, 10 minutes.
Oh, geez.
It's amazing.
Well, anyway, folks, that's going to end our live coverage here. You don't have to go home. You can stay on one of the 24/7 streams. You can just stay at home and watch one of the other streams. I don't know which stream it's going to end you up on. Is it going to be Space Coast? Is it going to be Starbase? Is it going to, probably not McGregor? But wherever you end up, we'll still be hanging out. Thank y'all so much for making this possible. Thank you for being a part of the rocket-loving community. And we will see you nerds later. Thanks for watching, y'all.
And here we go.
We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
RS-68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Echo down to nominal. Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange! 145!
Oh my god!
Decollage! Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.